Hey guys! Would keep it in the tones and the colors that you're gonna expect to see during fall. I want to do very berry lips. I did this cool ombre thing. Well, I personally think it's pretty cool. And also, you know, just the colors that coordinate with the eye and all of that as well. In this tutorial, I am again using the Morphe 35K palette, and like I mentioned in the last video I used it in, great palette, highly recommend it. A lot of variety of tones and colors on there. Very neutral though, so if you're looking for crazy colors and stuff, don't even look into that palette. But if you're someone that loves neutral tones on an everyday basis and wear, then definitely something for you to check out. Other than that, I don't think I have anything really else to say to you guys. No, nothing really. But yeah, if you guys like this video and this tutorial, then give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to keep updated with all my new uploads. And let me know what you think of this look down in the comments and what you want to see next. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go now. Bye guys! So the first thing I used to start off this look was my Maybelline Master Prime, the Blur and Smooth version. Now to correct my under eyes, I'm using my Bobbi Brown Tinted Eye Brightener in Light Bisque, and then blending out with a damp beauty blender. Here I show you guys exactly the difference that this makes. It's pretty incredible, and the fact that this is a very sheer product, it still gives really good neutralizing coverage and power. Then to neutralize the redness for my breakouts, I am taking my NYX HD Concealer in green, dotting them on the areas where I feel like I have the most redness, and then taking that same damp beauty blender and making sure to really work this into the skin. You don't want huge globs of this, so really press it in. For foundation, I am taking my NARS All Day Luminous foundation, and this is a very thin foundation, but it goes a long way. So the key to using this foundation is to make sure you use as little as possible. Here is 2 pumps, literally that's all you need, but the pigmentation, as you can tell, is super high, so it gives a really good coverage. Do not be fooled by its consistency. I am in the shade Deauville, and I am using my Bobbi Brown Full Coverage Face Brush, and I love to use this foundation in circular motions and actually buff it into the skin as opposed to my stippling motion that I usually do, only because it works the best with this foundation. I find, since it is such a loose consistency, it's able to spread it out in a greater area. For concealer, I'm using my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NC15, placing it underneath my eyes, center of my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, on the cupid's bow, and center of the chin, and then using that same damp beauty blender to really work this into the skin. I like that this concealer is super matte, and it actually pretty much dries up without any creasing, and I just really want to get into the areas where I am, again, the most red, making a super unflattering face here, and then really just making sure to melt this into the foundation. I find that using a damp beauty blender for this step as opposed to a brush, especially on myself, is that it really helps melt it just all together. There's no harsh lines, and it picks up any excess product since this is a very full coverage concealer, so you don't put on too much too soon. Now for my favorite part, as you can tell, baking. I absolutely love this. Probably one of my favorite steps to my makeup application. So I like to use my Ben Nye Luxury Powder in the shade Cameo, and with a dry beauty blender, I place this all on the areas where we highlighted and just right underneath the hollow of my cheek, just to sharpen up my contour when we get there. I find that this technique works best for me since I do have oily skin. You can use it if you are dry, but I would refrain. And here's an up close shot just to show you what it's supposed to look like. You can see the dots from where my oil has pushed through. Once you see these little dots, especially if you're oily, that means you are cooked and ready to blend the powder away. Personally, I love to use a denser brush to blend this away. At first, I was using a more sheer brush, or a brush that gives a more sheer coverage. If we were to use a powder product with it, I would use my Bobbi Brown sheer powder face brush, but I have found that using a dense brush actually seems to have a better finish for me, and I'm literally just flicking off the excess powder from my face. As you can tell, there really is no special technique here. I would suggest don't be too rough with your face or with your brush against your face, as you could break away some of the baking. Really, you just want to brush it off. Really no special technique nor too much of a big deal. And then I'll just go over any areas where I feel like you use a little bit light powdering, and voila, you're baked. For bronzer, I'm taking my Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer, and with a BH cosmetic brush, I am just making sure to go around the perimeters of my face just to really help warm up my skin tone so we are not so flat before we go into contouring. For contouring, I'm using my Anastasia contour powders in Fawn and Java mixed, and then I am taking this brush, which I'm loving for contouring at the moment. This is the Luxie Small Contouring Brush, and it's in circular motions going into the hollows of my cheek, along my hairline, and also making sure to hit right up underneath my jaw. Be careful with the jaw area. You always want to make sure you have a nice blend. I'm taking a much smaller brush and making sure to hit in between the center of my cupid's bow, the bottom lip, and also really pushing in the inner corner where my brow meets the bridge of my nose. I really like to have a more sunken in eye look. This really helps with that. And then just along the sides of my nose. For highlighter, I am taking the Balm Maryloumanizer and my Bobbi Brown eye blender brush to precisely put this on the high points of my cheek and really just packing it on there to have a nice shine and glow and raise our cheekbones. Then taking a much smaller eyeshadow brush, I am precisely placing this onto the center of my chin on my cupid's bow. You can use your finger for this as well. And then right on the center of my nose, and then dragging up a very thin line right up alongside the bridge of my nose. For blush, I'm using my So Susan Jelly Pong Pong blush. This is in the shade Rose Copper. I am taking my Bobbi Brown face blender brush with this because it is super pigmented. As you can tell, I didn't even double dip back into my product. I'm using just one dip and it's enough to cover both cheeks, which is pretty amazing. Since our base is all done, I'm taking some MAC Fix Plus to set everything. Then moving straight on to the lips. I had already thought about the lip I was going to do the night before I filmed this, and I was just so excited I couldn't wait any longer. So instead of eyes first, I'm doing lip color. First, I'm taking ColourPop Ultra Matte Liquid Lipstick in Avenue and making sure to really saturate the perimeter of my mouth and just make sure that is lined. Once that is completed, I am then taking the Mars, or the color in Mars, and then placing that right onto the center. And as you can tell just by this, we haven't really done any blending. It is just so perfect together, these two colors. It creates just a perfect ombre lip. So here's with the top lip done, just so we don't waste any time. Love it. Then moving on to eyes, I am using my MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre, as always, what's new, and making sure to really cover my whole lid space with this so we have a nice clean base. Then taking this really cool tone beigey matte shade, I am just placing this onto the lid and up into the crease, but not over the entire lid since this is a little bit more cool tone and ashy looking. Then taking this warm orangey brown and making sure to really work this into the crease. I'm using my Bobbi Brown eye blender brush for this. And then just to deepen up the crease a little bit, I am taking this matte taupe and this matte brick reddish brown shade. And then with a more precise pointed eyeshadow crease brush, I am pushing this into the crease and making sure to just deepen it up and layering it as you wish. To brighten up the lid space a little bit, I'm taking this matte banana shade and making sure to just pack this onto the lid, and then taking that pencil brush once more and making sure to just go over the edges so it's nice and blended. I put on my wing as usual. As mentioned before, I have a full wing liner tutorial on my channel. Make sure to check that out if you want an in-depth tutorial. Then with my MAC 212 brush, I am pushing up that reddish brick brown matte shade that we put in our crease right up along the bottom of my lashes. Then taking that taupey brown and with a smudge brush, smudging it all out. And then with that beigey matte banana shade, I am just taking a little bit of that onto a pencil brush and again furthering, just blending it and smoking it out. These are personally my new loves. This is the Ardell Double Wispies. Love these lashes. I can't believe I've never used these before. And popping those right on. As you can tell, they are just the perfect everyday lash with enough drama. So here is the completed look, guys. I personally had so much fun filming and creating this look. I just kind of didn't really know what direction I was going for, and it all just came together really nicely. So let me know if you love this look, what you think about it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!